It's time we have a serious talk about Bronny James. As of now, he's played his first 4 games of the Summer League, and if there's ever been a time to call a player streaky, it's now, because I haven't seen anyone as hot and cold as Bronny James through his first 4 games of the Summer League. I know it is just the Summer League, but this is the first time he has stepped into the NBA. And of course, anytime Bronny James steps onto the court, it's going to get talked about. It's going to get national headlines. Why? Because he is the eldest son of the greatest player of all time. Yes, LeBron James' oldest son. I'm sure you picked up on that by now, especially if you've clicked on this video. But of course, Bronny James, whether he's playing in the G League, NBA, or the Summer League, this man is going to get talked about to a ridiculous degree. More than deserved, definitely. But you don't get to choose who your father is, and neither did Bronny James. You know, the expectations put on him since the day he was born were unachievable. He was never going to be as good as his father. Why? Because no one will be as good as his father. And so Bronny James, of course, when he chose to be a basketball player, he knew this going into it. And Bronny James, he was all right in high school, pretty, good recruit. And then he makes it to USC. Maybe it's because of nepotism. Who knows? He makes it to USC. And training into his first season, he suffers that cardiac arrest, right? He almost dies, and now you gotta remember, that was a little over a year ago, so he's still kind of recovering from it. But of course, he almost dies, he doesn't, he ends up playing for USC, averages about 20 minutes a game, and in those minutes, he goes out and gets 4.8 points, 2.1 assists, 2.8 rebounds, and 0.8 steals. That might not be the prettiest stat line you've ever heard, but to be fair, Bronny James is still only, 18 at that point. He's playing at USC. He's not getting real starter minutes. The truth about Bronny is that he's gifted athletically, very talented, but still very raw and needs more time to grow. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But for right now, I just wanted to remind you guys to slow down, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 5,000. Thank you for helping me get to 3,000. Let's move up the goal a little bit. Every subscription is greatly appreciated. All right, now let's get back to talking about Bronny James. And like I said, he's very young, very talented, but he still needs more time. He barely played 1 full collegiate season, and then you've got a guy like Dalton Connect, who they just drafted early in the first round. Why did he go in the 17th pick? Because he stayed in college for a very long time. I'm pretty sure he's 23 years old, and in the Summer League, Dalton Connect has looked like a star. He will most definitely be in the Lakers' rotation come the regular season. But, he needed time to get there. Of course, he needed plenty of years, JUCO, college, Tennessee, to get to where he's at today. And Bronny, he was not given that time. Why? LeBron James kind of sort of rushed him into the NBA. LeBron only has a few more years left, if we're being real. By the time his last contract ends, it's basically wraps for him. I do not see him playing more than 2 more years. He is almost 40, people. While LeBron James' greatest battle might be with Father Time always wins in the end, which is why, LeBron kind of rushed his son into the NBA, because if he didn't, well, Bronny and him wouldn't get to play together, and that has been his dream. He's accomplished everything he can at the NBA level, except play with his son, and that's something he really wants to do, and if he's LeBron James, he's gonna get it done. And that's why we see Bronny where he is today. And of course, he's going to be in the G League, where he will be developing with the South Bay Lakers for the rest of this season. But of course, he is gonna get a few games in with his pops before any of that happens. And I promise you that it'll be all over your timeline, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. You won't be able to escape the Bronny James, LeBron James connection that they have at the beginning of the NBA season. It's going to be everywhere, just like his Summer League games have been everywhere. And speaking of his Summer League games, let's get into it. You see, the first one was against the Rockets. Now, how did Bronny do? Absolutely miserable. He was pretty good on defense, and that's the thing about Bronny, is that his defense has always been pretty solid, whether it be at USC or in high school or now in the Summer League. His defense is one of his best qualities. However, his shooting just isn't there, and we saw that at USC, and we're seeing this now in the G League. Against the Rockets, what did Bronny James do? Well, he shot 3 for 14 from the field, 0 for 8 from the three-point line, and he made about 8 points, had 5 rebounds, 0 assists, 2 steals, pretty mediocre game. He had, I want to say, 3 turnovers. He got an unimaginable amount of hate for this performance. And then he followed up this performance with one against the Boston Celtics. And what did he do there? He didn't take as many shots. I mean, he still started for the team because this is the summer league, but he went 1 for 5, 0 for 3 from the three-point line. He finished with 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Those first 2 games were absolute hell for Bronny. Offensively, he couldn't get anything going, didn't make a single 3. You know, people were hating on him, saying he was only there because of nepotism, which is true. I mean, he wouldn't have got drafted if his name wasn't Bronny James, but still, like, he was getting an unimaginable amount of hate. You have to remember, he was the 55th pick. He is not supposed to be a superstar, especially in his first ever summer league. And let me tell you, Bronny is probably going to play more than one summer league. You'll probably see him back here next year. But then he has a game against the Hawks where, you know, if he didn't play the way he did, they probably would have went 0 for 3 to start it off. This is where the narrative begins to change. Bronny begins to play better on the offensive end, which is what people have been waiting to see. You know, Bronny just felt like he wasn't aggressive enough. You know, of course he was chucking up threes those first few games, but he wasn't really driving the way people wanted him to, and we started to see glimpses of that in the game against the Hawks. Here he shot 5 for 11. Finally, the boy is efficient. Then he goes 2 for 5 from the three-point line. Makes threes. We love to see that. Ended up with 12 points, I want to say 1 rebound, no assist, but a steal. And they end up winning, beating the Hawks by 1 point. So shout out to Bronny, you know, he accomplished something, right? And then, of course, in his last game, well, he continues his success against the Cavaliers, where the Lakers see another win in the Summer League. This is not the 2016-2017 Summer League Lakers with Lonzo Ball in them, but you know, still a pretty good team. Don't connect, like I said, phenomenal. Again, phenomenal here. So is Bronny James. 5 for 10 from the field for Bronny, 1 for 3 from the three-point line, had 13 points, career high, if you want to give him that, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, his best all-around game. That's all you can really hope to get from the Summer League, is improvement here and there. Of course, we'll see it, Bronny James, all over our timelines, like I said, whether it's with the South Bay Lakers, probably will be, and I'm here for it. I'm here for Bronny's journey. Hopefully, he becomes a solid role player who can be useful. I would love that storyline for him. Maybe he even makes an all-star team here or there once or twice throughout his career. That is still a high accomplishment that less than 0.001% of the population ever accomplished. Probably less than that. If Bronny James is able to do that, he has surpassed my expectations, not the ridiculous expectations put by random LeBron James haters. You know, they hate his father, so what does Bronny James get? Even more hate for doing what? Nothing, basically. I mean, Jaylen Brown out here throwing jabs, right? But of course, Chet Holmgren's got his back. Chet Holmgren, shout out, bro. That was pretty cool of him. But anyway, like I said, I think I've covered everything I've wanted to for this video. Not much to say. It's only been a few Summer League games. So, you know, I think we'll call it wraps right here. All right. Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.